Welcome to Actuate Water Faucet, an innovative blockchain faucet dedicated to revolutionizing water management in communities, especially in northeastern Kenya. By leveraging blockchain technology, Actuate Water ensures fair access to clean and reliable water sources. This initiative not only empowers economic prosperity and educational advancement, but also contributes to reduced crime rates. Our project incorporates a 3-day creative training program for community development workers. These workers will educate households about transformative change, what we call metanoia. This process involves envisioning the future they desire, understanding their current conditions, and mapping out how to achieve that future. Within the Actuate Water Faucet, we offer an innovative 8-week learning program. This hybrid program combines online and physical meetings, catering to diverse learning preferences and schedules. Participants actively engage in these sessions and earn tokens as incentives for their contributions. These tokens serve a dual purpose. They not only reward individual participation but also empower community development workers. With these tokens, workers can train households within their communities, amplifying the program's impact far beyond the immediate participants. This creates a cycle of empowerment and knowledge sharing, enhancing community resilience and well-being. Our solution facilitates economic activities like agriculture and small-scale businesses. It also alleviates the burden on children, particularly girls, who often miss school to fetch water from distant sources. Through Actuate Water's faucet, communities unlock their economic potential, promote sustainable growth, and foster a brighter future for all. Join us in transforming lives with Actuate Water. Together, we can build a sustainable and prosperous future. Welcome to Actuate Water Faucet, an innovative blockchain faucet dedicated to revolutionizing water management in communities, especially in northeastern Kenya. By leveraging blockchain technology, Actuate Water ensures fair access to clean and reliable water sources. This initiative not only empowers economic prosperity and educational advancement, but also contributes to reduced crime rates. Our project incorporates a 3-day creative training program for community development workers. These workers will educate households about transformative change, what we call metanoia. This process involves envisioning the future they desire, understanding their current conditions, and mapping out how to achieve that future. Within the Actuate Water Faucet, we offer an innovative 8-week learning program. This hybrid program combines online and physical meetings, catering to diverse learning preferences and schedules. Participants actively engage in these sessions and earn tokens as incentives for their contributions. These tokens serve a dual purpose. They not only reward individual participation but also empower community development workers. With these tokens, workers can train households within their communities, amplifying the program's impact far beyond the immediate participants. This creates a cycle of empowerment and knowledge sharing, enhancing community resilience and well-being. Our solution facilitates economic activities like agriculture and small-scale businesses. It also alleviates the burden on children, particularly girls, who often miss school to fetch water from distant sources. Through Actuate Water's faucet, communities unlock their economic potential, promote sustainable growth, and foster a brighter future for all. Join us in transforming lives with Actuate Water. Together, we can build a sustainable and prosperous future. Welcome to Actuate Water Faucet, an innovative blockchain faucet dedicated to revolutionizing water management in communities, especially in northeastern Kenya. By leveraging blockchain technology, Actuate Water ensures fair access to clean and reliable water sources. This initiative not only empowers economic prosperity and educational advancement, but also contributes to reduced crime rates. Our project incorporates a 3-day creative training program for community development workers. These workers will educate households about transformative change, what we call metanoia. This process involves envisioning the future they desire, understanding their current conditions, and mapping out how to achieve that future. Within the Actuate Water Faucet, we offer an innovative 8-week learning program. This hybrid program combines online and physical meetings, catering to diverse learning preferences and schedules. Participants actively engage in these sessions and earn tokens as incentives for their contributions. These tokens serve a dual purpose. They not only reward individual participation but also empower community development workers. With these tokens, workers can train households within their communities, amplifying the program's impact far beyond the immediate participants. This creates a cycle of empowerment and knowledge sharing, enhancing community resilience and well-being.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Let's get started.
Hi, Doc.
Hello.
How are you?
All right. How are you?
I'm well. Yes, I hope everyone is ready for today's session.
Yes. Let's get started.
Okay, and the topic master is already here. So thank you very much, everyone, for making it to this meeting. This is like our fourth session for the first cohort, and we're going to look at the impact of water on the environment. And I would like to start by appreciating Doc for making it to this meeting. Dr. Yesterday you were a bit held up, but we appreciate your presence today. And everyone else for making it to the meeting. And I think since Augustine is here, Augustine, you shall talk about the summit after Dr. will be done giving his remarks. So I'm going to welcome Anthony to take us through today's topic, which is the role of water or the impact of water on the environment. So Ronald, you're welcome.
Thank you, Barbara. Hello, everyone. I'm Ronald Anthony. I'm the one who's going to take you today through today's session. Today, we will delve into a critical topic, the impact of water on the environment. Water is an essential resource that sustains life on Earth, and its availability, quality, and management significantly influence our ecosystems and human societies. The role of water in ecosystems. Water is the lifeblood of our planet, playing a fundamental role in sustaining ecosystems. It supports a diverse range of habitats, from oceans and rivers to wetlands and lakes. These water bodies are home to countless species of plants and animals, forming complex and independent ecosystems. For example, the wetlands serve as breeding grounds for fish, birds, and amphibians, while also acting as a natural filters that cleanse water by trapping pollutants and sediments. Moreover, water is crucial for nutrient cycling within ecosystems. It facilitates the movement of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, which are essential for plants' growth. This, in turn, supports herbivores and predators, maintaining the balance of food chain. The availability of water also affects the distribution and health of vegetation, which provides habitat and food for many species. The impact of water quality on the environment. Water quality is a key factor in determining the health of ecosystems. Polluted water can have devastating effects on both aquatic and terrestrial life. Contaminants such as heavy metals, pesticides, and industrial wastes can accumulate in water bodies, leading to toxic environments that are uninhabitable for many species. Eutrophication caused by excessive nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus can lead to harmful algal blooms, which deplete oxygen levels in the water and result in dead zones where life cannot thrive. Moreover, water pollution can impact human health. Contaminated water sources can lead to diseases affecting millions of people worldwide. Ensuring clean water is not only a matter of environmental protection, but also a public health priority the impact of water availability on the environment. Water availability is another crucial aspect that shapes the environment. The distribution of freshwater resources is uneven across the globe, leading to varying impacts on different regions. In areas with abundant water, ecosystems flourish and agriculture thrives. However, in arid and semi-arid regions, water scarcity can lead to droughts, which have severe consequences for both natural ecosystems and human communities. Drought can reduce soil moisture, leading to the degradation of land and loss of vegetation. This in turn can increase the risk of desertification and soil erosion, further exacerbating environmental degradation. Water scarcity also impacts agriculture, reducing crop yields and threatening food security. The role of human activities in shaping water's impact. Human activities have a profound influence on the availability and quality of water resources. Industrialization, urbanization, and agriculture have increased the demand, and domestic use can lead to the depletion of rivers, lakes, and aquifers, impacting the ecosystems that depend on these water sources. Climate change is another significant factor affecting water resources. Change in the precipitation patterns, melting glaciers, and rising sea levels are altering the availability and distribution of fresh waters. These changes can lead to more frequent and severe weather events such as floods and droughts, which have far-reaching effects on both ecosystems and human society. The importance of sustainable water management. Given the critical role of water in the environment, sustainable water management is essential, which involves protecting water quality, ensuring equitable access to water resources, and promoting efficient water use. It also requires integrating water management into broader environmental and development policies, recognizing its interconnectedness of water with other aspects of the environment. Efforts to protect and restore water ecosystems, such as wetlands and rivers, are vital for maintaining biodiversity and ecosystem services. Investing in water infrastructure, such as wastewater treatment plants and irrigation systems, can help reduce pollution and improve water use efficiency. Public education and awareness are also crucial from promoting responsible water use and encouraging conservation efforts. In conclusion, water is a vital component of the environment, influencing the health and stability of ecosystems and human societies. Its quality and availability are shaped by natural processes and human activities, making it a key area of concern for environment protection and sustainable development. As we move forward, it is crucial to adopt holistic and integrated approaches to water management, recognizing its fundamental role in sustaining life on Earth. By doing so, we can protect and preserve this invaluable resource for future generation. Thank you all, and that's the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much for that. And I'd like to say that, sorry, the presentation on that was clearly insightful, and it highlighted the critical role that water plays in sustaining ecosystems, supporting biodiversity, and maintaining the human health, which is very basic. And your discussion on the consequences of water pollution, scarcity, and the influence of human activities was particularly enlightening. And it really underscored the importance of sustainable water management and the need for integrated policies that consider the interconnectedness of the nature of water with other environmental factors. And also, the presentation effectively conveyed the urgency of protecting water resources and the need for collective action to ensure clean and accessible water for all, especially the northeastern Kenya and the semi-arid regions of Kenya. And the examples you provided, such as the effects of eutrophication and the impact of droughts, were powerful in illustrating the real-world implications of water issues and water crisis. Overall, I think it was a well-rounded and thought-provoking discussion that has certainly raised awareness and understanding of the complex challenges and opportunities associated with water and environmental sustainability. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much. Now I'm going to pass the mic over to Daktari for his remarks, and then we can have the Q&A or the summit announcement. So Daktari, you're welcome.
Oh, thank you, Barbara. Thank you so much, Anthony, for reminding us about water and environment. Well, listen, everyone, last week when we were talking about water, we were talking about the internal environment. It's called the internal milieu, the human body, the internal milieu. Now it turns out that that internal environment lives in an external environment. Now, generally speaking, when people talk about the environment, they're just talking about the external environment. That is the environment that we are talking about today. That is the external to the human body. But those two environments are connected to one another. So the system of balancing water inside the human body is exactly the same. It's the same system of balancing water outside the human body. Now, because outside the human body, water is balanced by nature itself. So there's water balance. Absolutely, nature itself is very clever. It's able to balance water. There's no water scarcity in nature until human beings come along. See, when you introduce human beings, then scarcity happens. But scarcity is a concept of the mind, and human beings cannot use the minds correctly to maintain the balance. Now, that water balance in nature has got a specific feedback mechanism, which is a balancing loop. Feedback mechanism, for those people who love systems dynamics, you will know that systems are balanced together through a feedback loop, just like the internal environment. As I was talking about last week, if the water goes very low in the human body, you feel thirsty and drink. So the act of drinking water is to replenish the low water level in the human body. So it's a balancing loop. Nature has got exact same mechanism that if water becomes low, it knows how to drink so that it balances itself. But what's the problem that we find in this world is that that balancing loop is interfered upon by things called human interventions. And so human interventions creates an illusion of scarcity where scarcity does not exist. And then you have marginalized populations, because nature, the way it was all the way from the beginning, the days of creation in Genesis, supplied enough water for all of us to maintain what is called the great circle of life. The great circle of life. So the great circle of life is the one that has in itself the food chain. But why water seems scarce is because some people, human beings, when I say some people, I mean human beings, want to have more water than others in a zero-sum game. You know, that old economics of win-lose situation. So you find there are people who are in places where they have a lot of water. They have nothing to do with it. In fact, they try to drain it away. And then there are the people who have access to no water. That's human creation. It's not natural creation. It's not natural that we have imbalanced water supply. Water is a burden for all of us. And you see, water comes from the clouds, rain, it rains, and then that water hits the ground and then runs all the way down to the ocean. So when you're talking about the ocean level rising, what is rising is the amount of water in the ocean. Where is it coming from? It's coming from the same water that's around being recycled. So recycled on a great cycle of life. That's one thing that's good to comprehend. Is a natural system that works on a feedback loop system, just like the internal environment of a human body, that when the water gets depleted, you feel thirsty and drink water. And so water is the lifeblood of that great circle of life. Yeah, they have said that water comprises 60 to 70% of all living things, like the human body itself, the human cell, inside the human cell. Then even we find metals that looks very highly compact, they still have got certain water inside them. So it is like, because water is stored in all these things, including the ocean. What ocean is a very huge basin for storing water. That water is not pure water. In order to make it potable, I mean, drinkable by people, you have to remove the impurities. But the water, so long as you purify that water, you remove out all the rest of the stuff in water, then that water is still the same. It is still the same molecules, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen. All you have to do is remove all the other impurities and it comes back. So the water in the environment then is available for all of us to continue to live a balanced life. But why we are not able to get there is because of the selfishness of certain types, means certain people, or because of what we said last week, absence of imagination. Well, absence of imagination. So when we talk about scarcity of water, water is not scarce at all. But what is scarce is the imagination on how to get potable water. Because as I said, water is all over the place. You just have to purify it to make it potable. You have to purify it. You have to mine it, or you have to harvest it. So and I want to repeat what we said last week. Now, environment water. If you want now to have water to supply human needs, there are 3 ways that you get that water. It comes from the rain in the clouds. Even in places where it doesn't rain every year, sometimes you can go for 2 years without rain. In semi-arid and drought areas, like those sub-Saharan places, the Saharan places, they still get rain once in a while. It is that when that rain comes, we are not active or proactive in collecting that water to keep it for a dry day. Let's say keep it for a dry day, not keep it for the rainy day, they say that keep it for the rainy day in London because it's raining all the time. But keep it for a dry day. Why don't people capture the water, or let's say harvest the water and keep it for the dry season? It's because they don't consider it necessary to imagine that they can capture that water. You see? So water always comes, but then it finds us uninterested in collecting it and capturing it. And yet we talk about all these advanced technologies, about everything, we complain about climate change. And the basic thing, the real basic thing, which is deciding to capture that water so that to be available for the dry day, we pay no attention to that. So then we engage as human beings, we engage in lurid thinking, politics, and all that kind of stuff. Water does not respect politics. That's it. It doesn't respect all the kind of talks that people and guessworking, stuff like that. So the basic, what we have to do is just do the basic things that a human being has to do, knowing that water is there. Okay. And so I don't know. So that water, how do you capture it? How you capture the water? Everybody lives somewhere in a place called shelter. A shelter, type of shelter, is a house. That house has got a roof. Okay. That roof becomes what? The basic capturing system for water harvesting. One roof, just one rain season can give you how many tons? Maybe 1,000 tons of water. Just that we take for granted. You find in the places which are known as called semi-arid, they have things that are called seasonal rivers. Seasonal rivers. Where those rivers come from? That's just water flowing away, heading where? To the ocean. Who said that the ocean needs a lot more water right now? The ocean never complained. In any case, even if you stop that seasonal river for a while, that water will end up in the ocean, whether we like it or not. Okay? The ocean will not come crying, saying, hey guys, I'm having water shortage because you harvest all the water up there in the villages, and I'm not having any water anymore. We're doing what for my fish? Never. The ocean will never, ever, ever come to complain to any human being of lack of water, because human beings harvested that water for their own drinking. In any case, that water, after human beings have drunk it, they are going to get it out again and it will find its way to the ocean. So we human beings, we can never, never stop the great cycle of life, except in our own, misguided ideas, misconceived notion. So what I would like us to do is encourage ourselves to think about that, open our imagination towards harvesting the water that is usually available for all of us, which comes from where? Comes from heaven. Yeah, comes from heaven, from the clouds. It rains upon us. But then we fail to do what? To capture that water, to harvest it for use. Now, what we should discuss about is what are the technologies for water harvesting, environmental water harvesting. One is you need to have a roof that is, of course, nice. Even if the roof is made of what? It's made of grass, thatch grass, but that thatch grass roof, it does not make it easy for you to harvest the water. So that grassy roofs, although there are way you can make grass thatch to make it direct water in the right places. But we are way more advanced than grass thatches today. Thatch huts, and the other type of roof is a manyatta. I don't think that lots of people live in manyatta today because of the advances in technology for shelter and buildings. A lot of people, huge percentage of population, are living in a house that has got a corrugated iron sheet roof. Okay, corrugated iron sheet roof. That corrugated iron sheet, if you look at more than 90% of houses in Kenya have got, not just Kenya, even other African countries have got a corrugated iron sheet. But then when it rains, the water hits that corrugated iron sheet roof, and then the water drains on the ground, and then it disappears on its way to the Indian Ocean. What is the point? Wait, now, the way to stop that water from heading to the Indian Ocean from your own roof, the roof is doing a very good job gathering that water, plus giving you shelter from the rain and the sun. So give it a gutter. Okay? Put a gutter at the bottom of the roof. One gutter is sufficient. But then put a gutter surrounding your house. And when you're putting up a roof, it's good to make a roof for all four sides of your house. Not two sides like a gable. You're not from the Green Gables. Four sides of the house. Why? Because you're going to maximize the surface area for correct collection of water. So make a roof that is decent for the idea of water harvesting. Okay. So don't make a gable roof. Okay, that's a waste of time, because you're going to have one side of the wall, like two sides. In a gable house, you have two sides that are exposed, but they don't have the roof to collect water. So they'll be receiving rain on the wall side, but there is no gutter. You cannot put a gutter there to collect. So one house, you could say, that can accommodate one family, of course, talking about husband, wife, and their children, regardless of the number of children they have. One house that accommodates husband, wife. It doesn't have to be a sophisticated house, but it's a house with a roof. You can have gutters surrounding it. And one house, during the rainy season, even if it rains once in a while, it will help you collect water in 10 tanks. 10, not one, 10 tanks. 10 tanks. Okay? So why don't people do that? Because they don't do that because they have no respect of the water coming from heaven alone. That water you receive, or we receive water from heaven by what's called grace. We don't apply for it. You don't write an application. Okay, can we have about 10 million tons, 10 million tons of water this season? No, nobody writes an application. It comes by pure grace. It's called grace of God. So to fail to capture that water, which you have received for free, totally free, it even comes with no taxation from Zachariah himself. No taxation. That water is free. That's a deception. That's the greatest deception, to deceive ourselves that God will care for us when we actually disregard his graceful donation, his gracefulness. You see that? So it's impossible to even imagine how this kind of thing happens. And then when the dry season comes, people start crying, oh, there's no rain, cows are dying, blah, 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 there's no water. Yes. Why? Because God is not deceived. Yes, God is not mocked. You cannot mock God by refusing to collect the rainwater and then complain that there's no water in the community when water was already there. The only thing that we fail to do is to refuse to harvest that water in our own self-deception that God should give us water all the time. See, this is the thing that we have to get through that. The technology is already there and has been there for thousands of years. So if you cannot build a tank to collect water, you can dig a hole in the ground, because maybe you can say tanks are expensive to buy, but it's a hole expensive to build, to dig a hole in the ground. In that hole, you lay a nylon sheet, polythene sheet that is impermeable. Impermeable means that water is not going to seep through the soil. Okay? When it rains, then that water enters into that place. And you can build, because wherever you have built a house, next to it must be some piece of land, like maybe 0.1 acres of land. You can actually dedicate to a place you can build a big hole, and then you put a lining on it. And so that when the rainwater comes, it will go there. That now provides water for you, storage water for your livestock, even for your household. Then you say, how do I get water out of that hole after? Well, that takes some imagination, not too much. It's not high complex engineering that you have to learn from the University of Nairobi. No. It's just local thinking. If you have a water catching hole, I mean, let's call it a water pan. That's what we call it in engineering, water pan. That is harvesting your rainwater. Even if the rain does not come every single year, it comes every 2 years. That water pan will be sufficient to do what? To keep enough water, but you have to dig water with good dimension. Yeah, you want to make a hole like you mean it. Like I say, that one roof can have 10 tanks. That hole can accommodate water for 10 tanks or more. Yeah, which is going to be available for you throughout the year. for feeding your cows and goats and chicken. So this thing about water scarcity is not a real thing. It's not real that water is scarce. What is real is scarcity of imagination. And of course, people not wanting to do what they're supposed to do because they're expecting somebody else to do it for them. And that somebody else does not exist. Somebody else does not exist. There's no savior who is going to come out from there, a messianic figure, and come and provide water. See, that's a fallacy. So it's in responsibility of every single individual to do what? To discover how to harvest the water that comes through his own, let's say, his own experience or her own. Okay. Now, and it's really tough to think about this thing. So, you know, then we send all young people to the universities, they learn all this engineering, then they come back home and we perpetuate the same thing. What we are saying, let us stop that. Let us stop that mockery. It's mockery. To talk about water scarcity is mockery to the Creator, a divine mockery. And as we are told, do not be deceived, God is not mocked. What happens when we mock God? Is that, of course, the shortage of water will manifest, as we have said, this is going to be shortage. And then there will be no water for livestock. The animals will have no water to drink. There will be no water for the crops, no water for the family, and there's going to be a famine or a drought, and people die. That's the consequence of self-deception. Consequence of self-deception. So I really think that there's nothing that stops us from doing the right things except ourselves. And we want to usually complain and give big, thematic ideas, which we learn from the dismal scientists, that there are shortages. No, they don't exist. The shortage is a shortage of imagination. And if people can get together, they can do that. Another way to conserve that water is drilling a well. You see the well? The well is usually about 20 meters underground. Also, those are not high-tech things, and then you can have this thing for the crane for raising the water from underground. They don't cost much money to build up, to put up a well. Let's say even that water pan itself, we talked about earlier, doesn't cost more than $1,000. That's more, it doesn't cost more than 100,000 shillings. And in fact, it's not the shillings that matter to build that, to put up a water pan. What matters is what? It's just doing it. Just doing it, deciding to do a water pan so that you can feed, you can have water available for your family. But that water pan has to be covered in case there's strong sunshine beating down the earth. It doesn't evaporate all that water. So you want to cover it with some ingenious ways. Maybe you can plant some trees around the water pan, of course. You want to plant trees that don't drink all the water because some trees are notorious for drinking the water that you're trying to conserve. As your plant, as the water is being secured, then the trees like blue gum tree will be drinking all of it. It's like a giant camel. But then, unlike the camel, which drinks the water and walks around with it, the blue gum tree will drink the water and then send it back into atmosphere. So it's not helpful. But there is a lot of other trees that can provide water canopy. It can provide food canopy, which means canopy reducing this direct sunlight hitting down upon your water pan. So what you want to do is that when you dig that water pan, plant some trees around it. Yeah, trees surrounding the water pan. And those trees are not going to grow suddenly. They will take 2, 3, 4 years to start providing the shade that you want. shade is, this is why I say nature has provided everything. Shade is all you need. You don't have to make any artificial shade. Shade is all you need. And so when you do that, we see that requires work, physical work, manual labor. So manual has got the word man inside it. Man, you. Man working with his own hands. Manual labor. So handiwork. It requires handiwork. So that is when imagination gets transported from the consciousness into your hands. That's what called manual. So you cannot imagine these things in your mind and then your hands are not working. Okay, what is that? That's another set of mockery. So when you have imagined something like that, then you have to do it with your own hands. You have to apply manual labor, which is called sweat. So you can generate some sweat and then you say it is good. But then create that water pan and buy a plastic lining to prevent water from seeping out of the ground, and that's that. A well is different. A well is a narrow, is a narrow project. It's not wide, so you wouldn't worry about evaporation from a well. But you want to make the well deep enough until you reach the superior water table. And there's a lot of water underground, even in places which look like there's no rain. In drought, there's water that you're walking upon it. It's under your feet. So for handiwork now, let's say you have applied your imagination, build a well, and then dig a well underground and gain access to that water. So that is a little bit more involved than a water pan. The well itself does not require a protection from evaporation, but it's good to plant trees, to make that place cool. Now, the other one is a borehole in case the place gets very, very dry. Yeah, like you can have 2 or 3 years of drought. 2 or 3 years of drought can make water quite scarce, and the water table is quite, is quite deep. Like now you have to reach the aquifer. Aquifer is a water deposit. There's a whole lake underground, a deposit like Lake Naivasha or Lake Nakuru that is under the surface. That lake is very, very big. As big as say Lake Nakuru, Lake Victoria, there's a lake underneath. Everywhere there's always a lake. And that lake is about 100 meters, maybe 50 to 100 meters below the surface. Now you need technology to drill down there. That technology is not supremely expensive. With about 1 million shillings, like it's about $10,000 or thereabouts, you're able to drill into that space. Now, because that 1 million shillings is not easy to raise for a single family, perhaps, that's why we need what you call quadratic funding. And so we can raise money to drill boreholes. But they are not out of reach. Again, what it takes is imagination. In terms of fundraising, now when I see people doing fundraising for their churches, they do fundraising in church. There is 1 million shillings in a jiffy, in a snap. See, Murkomen comes with 20 million shillings in a bag, just one man, which of course he has stolen, from oil. But what I am saying is this, that organized fundraising will make that 1 million. So even say if Murkomen comes around with 20 million shillings and donates money to the church, does that church create water harvesting solutions? Or on what is it investing? Even if it builds a very big church building, does it have water harvesting things like tanks? It has a roof, but it has no tank. And yet it's the house of God. Can you believe that? Isn't that an insult to God himself? Why create a roof, raise money to build a church? Church has got a big roof, but there's not a single tank around that church. Yeah? Or let's even say a mosque. I don't know whether a mosque has roof, think they have rounded domes, but I don't know. Well, but every building has got a roof. So anyway, what I'm saying is that these things are not out of reach. There's no scarcity of water as such. What we have is a scarcity of imagination and abundance of deception. Yes. To deceive ourselves that we are in scarcity when there is no scarcity. See, we deceive ourselves. So, and this is what now we're leading out to our summit at the end of this year. We want to bring to the attention of our people that this idea of scarcity of water is the grand deception. Okay? That the scarcity itself is a scarcity of imagination. Let us apply our own imagination. And I know there is lots of people who own companies that would like to help people harvest water, environment water. One is companies that make roofing materials. Let us invite them to the summit. In fact, we should invite them to this Learn to Earn program every Saturday so they can come and talk to us about their work in roofing. Now, whose job it is to explain to the people, or to put gutters, whose job it is to apply gutters for collecting water from every roof in every house. Whose job is that? Whose work is it? To impress upon wananchi. Like if you have a house, and the house has got 4 parts of the roofs because 4-sided, this way there's no gable. Whose work is it to fix a gutter in that roof? And whose work is it to explain to you where to get the gutter from? Now, question number 2. There are companies that make tanks for collecting water, the rainwater from the gutters and the roofs. Whose work is it to explain to the people that every roof should have at least 10 tanks? Every house should have at least 10 tanks for water harvesting. Yet, you know, there's so many tanks companies, tank manufacturing companies, from plastic tank, polythene tanks, to metallic tanks, corrugated iron sheet tanks, to steel tanks, tanks made of steel. Whose job is it to impress upon the owners of houses with roofs to put up at least 10 tanks to every household? Yes, that's the greatest question. Now, the people who make tanks themselves, in their own self-deception, they think that Mwananchi should know that having a house is good to have a tank. Should know by what? As you can see, people, when you tell them to use their imagination, they get terrified and they run away. They're afraid of using their imagination. Instead of using imagination, they engage in a deception. So whose work is it to get people out of that deception, to snap out of that deception? So I would say the tank manufacturing company has a 100% the job to go to every household, door to door, telling people, listen up, you need to have 10 tanks in your house. And we know we have 10 tanks, we can come and give tanks to you. See? So because the tank companies are not doing that, then we take it upon ourselves to call those tank companies right here on this Learn to Earn session. And we explain to them that wananchi, because they're in a state of deception, we need the tank companies to come and speak to wananchi about the need to put tanks for their houses, every roof. You see that? So what I'm saying, we're talking about between now and the summit in December. If you know a company that makes roofs, roofing materials, if you know a company that makes gutters for collecting water from the roof, you know a company that makes tanks, tell us so we can invite them to this Learn to Earn session. And we tell those companies they have a job to do. Now, sitting out there manufacturing tanks without talking to the actual users of the tanks is also a big deception on their part. They're deceived because people are not going to discover and snap out of deception. Deception is a bad thing. People don't just snap out of it. people will not snap out of it. And so the companies that are making those tanks should not expect people to just wake up one morning and realize, by the way, when they get this aha moment, aha, wow, that is what I needed all these years, and I did it now. No, people are not going to snap out of what that state, the state of days. People cannot snap out of it all by themselves. So they need someone. And so what we are saying here is we call the tank companies and tell them, and there are many. So go online, do research, find who manufactures tanks. And every tank company you know, and is not explaining to the people that you need to have 10 tanks around your house, surrounding your roof, that company is not doing its job. If that company has not sold 10 tanks to every family in Moranga, 10 tanks to every family in Nyeri, 10 tanks to every family in Webuye, 10 tanks to every family in Kwale, that company is missing all the business. Yeah, it's like it doesn't want to be in business because that's a market, huge market for itself. And so that's what's about. And then you find there are people who help people to do water ponds, that for water harvesting. And somehow people in the communities do not know about them. And they don't go to tell the people in the community about themselves. And how do they expect people in the community to know about them so they can create water ponds for just water harvesting? That's runoff water that you can just collect in your own household. So it looks like we have a shortage when there is no shortage. And we have people with understanding, even the technology itself, people making tanks, making roofs, people doing water harvesting on water ponds, but they are not telling the wananchi about those great things. And so it feels as if we have shortage when in fact there's no shortage, but then we are punished for that deception by having no water for drinking, no water for the cows, no water for the giraffes also out there in the forest. They lack water because human beings have created an artificial state of shortage that does not really exist. So one final word is that all those companies that are involved in water, we want them also to come to the summit and also meet people and talk about the same thing. And in the summit itself, there's going to be a huge exhibition of water technologies. This is not so that the companies can just show off the stuff and then go away. It's so that the companies can reach people. I believe because this is a health summit, global health and human development. Everybody attending that summit is a professional in the area of practice, whether in engineering, computer science, in medicine, surgery, psychiatry, everything. Such a professional operates a professional center, maybe a clinic, okay, or works in a hospital. Every single one of those places of operation, just like a house, it's got a roof. It needs to know that of the technologies for water harvesting. So every doctor must have a water harvesting solution in his or her compound. That means at least one professional compound. And this is the reason why we want the water companies to come. So at least doctors can afford a borehole. If you're practicing medicine in a place like Kitekela and you have a clinic there, dig a borehole for yourself, for your clinic, for your patients. And also you can actually sell water to the local people there in the community. Every doctor can do that, but the doctors are not going to tell that to themselves. Yeah, why? Because as I told you, we have scarcity of imagination. The doctor is not going to tell himself that, listen, I need to build a borehole here to give me enough water supply for my clinical duties and also for supplying the patients in the community. Imagine a doctor in a place like what? Kiserian, or even in Yahoo, anywhere, even in Kwale, having a borehole. The doctor can actually manage to raise the money for building a borehole without breaking a sweat. Why doesn't he build a borehole for his patients, wherever he is, family? And if borehole is too expensive, he can collect water using tanks. And you find there are people working in such places when they know definitely they're professionals. There's going to be water shortage during the dry season, and then they don't go out and understand how to harvest the water, because the water company, which has got the solutions, the water engineering company that has got tanks, water drilling mechanism and systems, have not spoken to them. That's why we want to bring those two people together. And I think we should have a big water workshop so that this message gets out to the people. There's no shortage of water. What we have is shortage of imagination. And so let's talk even about an engineering professional. Engineering, believe it or not, we have engineers. Particularly, I'll tell you example of what is Multimedia University on Bagadi Road, across from where? Across from what's the city? Yeah, on Bagadi Road. Ogata Rogai, yes. Ogata Rogai gets quite dry. You see, MMU is at the bottom of Karen, right after Banda School, Oma Road. That place gets supremely dry. MMU, I think today is an engineering school. So during the rainy season, of course, MMU is a university, has a lot of roof. But, I went to MMU and looked at all that roof and see what they do with the roof, the water coming from the roof. Yeah, that's when I want you to go to MMU and look at what they do with the water coming from the roof. It's a complete deception. You see, they have this water coming from the roof, and then it's collected by a pipe, and the pipe leads all the way down to the ground. It doesn't go to a tank. It goes to the ground. So the water from the roof is directed to the soil so that it runs off into Bagadi River. That is incredible. And they are doing that at what? At a school of engineering. And you'll say, are there engineers in the school? They say, oh yeah. And why aren't you collecting the water from the roof? And yet, that place gets very, very dry. Like there's a time we had 6 months of no rain at all. And the place, because that's next to Mas Island, close to from Gatarongai, very, very dry. And it's a drought-like situation. Comes there almost every year. And the guys at MMU do not have any water. Yet during the rainy season, all the water is directed to the soil to run off into Bagadi River. Now, who told any one of those people at MMU that Bagadi River needs more water? Who said that? Except their own absence of imagination, or maybe, let me say, except their own deception. And you can tell that. You can go to all colleges, including University of Nairobi. They have lots of roof. KU, lots of roof. And that water is never collected. So where are they expecting the water to be coming from? Municipal water. Now, as you know, that area at MMU, it's in Karen. Karen doesn't have municipal water. Everybody digs a borehole. So, and MMU itself, plus many other universities in Karen, including the Catholic University of East Africa, Tangaza universities, none of them collect their rainwater, because the rain that comes down by the grace of God for free, all free, is not respectable enough for us to collect unless we are provided water by the city. Yeah, you see that deception? Ladies and gentlemen, because we are here, we want to do away with that nonsense, deceiving ourselves that there's scarcity when there is no scarcity. So we create a new form of leadership of abundance. Now the abundance is already always there, is present. The abundance is there. we cannot create abundance. Because in this great circle of life, it's built with abundance. All we have to do is imagine how to partake to a feast of abundance, which is with us always. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about, of course, impress upon in the summit. So you can see the summit becoming very, very, very exciting. Because why wouldn't a water company that makes tanks go to the vice chancellor of MMU and tell Mr. Vice Chancellor, we have a solution here. I don't even think we need the water, the owner of the water company to come and tell that, of the tanks manufacturing company. It's an engineering school. So what message are they sending to their engineering students? Yeah? Well, you know what you're talking about. Now you know. So your job today is yourself who is present here, is reach out to the water companies. Go to Google, find them. Tell them about this message, that they can come and help shed light to the imagination, expand the imagination of our population, institutions, individuals, families, professionals, to engage in water harvesting. Okay? Talk to tank companies, roofing companies, and what else? And water plant companies, even drilling companies for building boreholes and wells. Talk to them. One, tell them we have learned to earn program that they can come and speak to our people about the sanctity of water harvesting, because that it is a sanctimonious situation where we receive this water for free by grace of God Himself. Yeah. So then tell them that we have a water workshop, and we want all of them to come and meet the people, professionals, who each one, but being a person who is serving people in the community, must have a water harvesting solution in his or her practice. I'm talking about doctors, surgeons, nurses, psychiatrists. We're talking about engineers, software, and then all those professionals, they should have a water harvesting solution in their homestead where they came from, because they did not come from being professional. They come from a village. They were born of mothers and fathers who live in that village, and they should help their own homesteads, even if they are not helping the entire village, to have a water harvesting solution. I mean, 10 tanks for their grandmothers and their mothers at home for their roots. Okay, that's the message today. Very powerful, and you have a job to do. Now the final thing I'll tell you about that, if you convince any one of those companies to come and exhibit, and they pay exhibition fees, you will earn 5% for that great work. Now already, I'm sure you're dancing in the ceiling. Again, do not constrain your imagination. This is when we say, away with deception. Don't deceive yourself that you can do that, because also there is abundance of such companies. So partake to the abundance, feast of abundance, and invite water companies to come and do that. And now work with Barbara here, who is our coordinator for the water project. You tell Barbara, listen, I have these companies, they want to come. Can you let them in? And Barbara will say, oh, yes, because Barbara is a lady of abundance. And for those who have abundance, even more will be given to them, and they have even more abundance. But those who do not, who have not, even the least they think they have is taken away, and they have nothing, according to Matthew. All right, back to you, Barbara.
Thank you very much, Doc, for your remarks and speaking about the summit. And I think the message is very clear. I just want to echo what you've said, that we are inviting the water companies in Kenya to participate in the pre-Boston summit in Nairobi. And to those listening, this event is scheduled for the 3rd of December to the 6th at Kenyatta University, and it's going to present a unique platform for stakeholders in the water sector, particularly to come together, share insights, and forge collaborations that will shape the future of water management in Kenya and beyond. And then I want to say that the Actuate Pre-Boston Summit is not just an event, it's going to be a movement, a powerful movement for that matter. And our vision is to harness the power of innovative technologies such as blockchain, artificial intelligence, and decentralized finance to revolutionize the water management systems in Kenya. And we are aiming to create sustainable solutions that are going to address the pressing challenges of water scarcity, the quality of water, and the distribution of water. And by integrating this cutting edge technology, we can also ensure that transparency, efficiency, and equitable access of water to everyone. And we all know that water is a vital resource. Uh, Water companies play a crucial role in this vision, as Daktari has said, and their expertise, experience, and innovations are valuable to the collective goal of enhancing water security and management. And by participating in the summit, they will be able to showcase their innovations, that is, to present their latest products, like for the tank companies, technologies and solutions to a diverse audience of industry leaders, policymakers, healthcare professionals, and potential partners with Actuate. And this is going to be an opportunity for them to demonstrate their commitment to advancing water solutions in Kenya. And then with that, they will also be able to engage in thought leadership and contribute to the panel discussions, the workshops, and presentations that will be addressing the key issues in water management. That means they will also be able to share their insights and experiences and learn from the other water companies how to explore the new strategies and approaches to water. And thirdly, they will be able to connect with fellow water professionals, technology experts, and decision makers. And the summit is going to offer a platform to build strategic partnerships, explore business opportunities, and expand your network as an individual, as a company within your industry. And I think the fourth reason why water companies need to participate in the summit, just in case you're looking for water companies and they're asking you, why do you want us to participate in the Actuate Pre-Boston Summit, they can be able to support sustainable development, and they can join the Actuate Water in promoting sustainable development goals, particularly those related to water and sanitation. And their participation will help to drive initiatives that ensure clean and safe water for all. And then we also have opportunities for involvement where the Actuate Pre-Boston Summit is going to offer various avenues for companies to participate in the summit. We talked about the exhibition booth. We had sponsorship opportunities and then the speaking, the workshops and demonstrations. Lastly, that the Actuate Pre-Boston Nairobi Summit is more than just a conference. It is a call to action. Together, we can make a tangible difference in the water sector, ensuring that every Kenyan has access to clean, safe, and reliable water. And your participation is vital to achieving this vision. And lastly, again, we want to invite all the water companies to join us at this landmark event. Let us continue to look for these water companies. And if you have any challenges doing that, you can always reach out to me. And let us collaborate, innovate, and lead the way towards a future where water is a resource that is accessible to everyone. And I'm looking forward to your contributions and insights on how to get more water companies to participate in our summit. Thank you very much, everyone, and I'm hoping that we are going to continue working together towards making the Actuate Pre-Boston Summit a success. Daktari, how was that?
Hi, Barbara. That was great. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, that was good. I had muted myself because I've got some guests, but I'll let you go and continue. That's great.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. And I am checking for questions. I cannot see any questions, and I'm hoping that we are all clear on how we are going to help each other to get the water companies to come to the summit and be able to participate to help move Kenya to the next level. And Daktari, I noticed something today when the CS for Treasury, the current nominated CS for Treasury was being vetted in. somebody who was watching from the US sent in a question, and the question was, he was asking John Buddy on his view on blockchain technology as a means of overcoming the centralized mechanisms of finance. And you know what John said? John said he has no clue what blockchain is. And then he pushed the question back to the Speaker of the National Assembly, who is Wetangula. And Wetangula also said he does not understand blockchain, and that's how they pressed the question down. Yes. Yeah, so I think with that being said, I hope everyone is satisfied with today's content and the meeting for today. And I'm inviting all of you to join the blockchain class, which will be happening from 8 p.m. East African time, from 8 to around 9:30. So let's get ready for that class at 8 p.m. And I'll be sharing the attendance form so that we can be able to fill it and earn Actuate tokens for attending the session. So thank you very much, everyone.